Jai Hind everyone, welcome back to the Patriotic IAS. In this session, we will start our session on the IAS PCS wala analysis of the Hindu and the current affairs. In this session, we will study the major news articles and editorial that are relevant for the UPSC as well as the state PCS and the different competitive examination. So let's see what are the major area that has been covered that is relevant for the UPSC. We will start with this Uttarakhand tabled this UCC bill into the its assembly. So what is this UCC? This is the Uniform Civil Code, and this talks about that all the laws, personal laws should be there should be a law that bring the similarity and uniformity in these laws to whenever we have to implement, because now we have the different religion, different tribes have different personal law, and there is a huge discrimination against the women's, and also there is the discrepancies with respect to the implementation in the case of the adaptation and different areas. So we will study all this thing under this, and this is under GS paper 2, that is the part of the DPSP, directive principle of state policy, that is under our constitution. After that we will study this Rajya Sabha has passed this PVTG's bill, and this bill will include the 9 PVTGs, those from the Odisha and the Andhra Pradesh. So we will see that the name of these PVTGs, and yes, this is under the society section of the GS paper 1. We have seen that due to this implementation there is the opposition, and this is the Jamiat that is opposing this UCC, because already there is the UCC on the Hindus, because it was the Hindu code bill that brought the uniformity in the laws across the all Hindu section. So other religions such as the Islam, Christian and this Parsis religion was out of this Hindu code bill. This was Hindu code bill was implemented on the Hindus, Sikhs and Jain and Buddhists. So you should remember all these things. Okay. Union governments arrange the financial transfer to the state. So this is talking about the center-state relationship. Under that, it is talking about the how, as per the Finance Commission recommendation, what is the situation of the transfer of the revenues and the division of the revenues from the union to the state, and also it's talk about the centrally sponsored scheme and a central sector scheme. So you should know what is the difference between this. We will study this all this thing in a very comprehensive manner. This is with respect to the mains perspective, so detailed analysis will be done for that. Okay. Then we will further study about this what is going in the Chandigarh. There was the mayor poll, and there was a huge manipulation of the election. So this become important because this is not good for a healthy democracy. Besides that, we will also see that due to this interim budget, there is the chance for the central bank to take some decision with respect to the interest rate, so that there could be the sum of the enhancement in the economic activities, because as the interest rate is low, more people will borrow and more economic activity will take place. So this is under the GS paper 3 economy. Okay. After that, we will study this understanding the nuance of the liberal art. Here we will see that the philosophical understanding with respect to the any events, if it is going on, there is the different context, different historical background, all we need to understand. So this will be part of the society GS paper 1, as well as all these further point provided in this article can be used to write a good essay which is on the philosophical ground. So let's start our news analysis with the front page. This is with respect to this UCC, and yes, this UCC, Uniform Civil Code. So yes, what is this for the BJP? Those the party that is in the power, this is the historic movement. Those who are in the opposition, Congress, this is the poll gimmick. Okay, so this is their stand. So this is the first state in the independent India to enact the uniform law, as per the our yes, the chief minister of the Uttarakhand. Okay, but you should understand The reality is that it is the Goa already have the uniform civil code because they retain this Portuguese civil code of 1867 when they got independence from the Portuguese into the 1961. This is the Goa who got the freedom in Indian territory. This is the last state that got the freedom from the foreigners, British colonial, in the last 1961. So please remember this when the Goa got the this and Goa had the largest means maximum duration under the colonial period. Okay, generally for the whole India it is the 200, but for the Goa it is the 400 years. So please you should understand. Okay. Next, the feature of this bill is that it is not applicable to the tribals. One thing, and what is this? You should understand this uniform civil code. This is related to the personal law. Already we have the uniform criminal code across the India, but the personal law, what is the personal thing, like the marriage, divorce, succession of the inheritance and the property from the one generation to the other generation, the rights of the wife, the rights of the adopted children, the rights of when there is the disease, when the this property transfer from the one person to the next generation, how there is the claim from the parents as well. All this has been done. Okay, so this is all about the first thing is this you should know the basics what is the personal law. Beside that you should also know that yes, the finance minister this came with the this law, and this our chief minister of the Uttarakhand came with the constitution. The one thing is new about this, generally this lady that holding this scale is always blinded, but here she is not blindfold, not blinded, blindfold means this coverage of her eyes. Okay, so this is the blindfold, but they have brought without the this blindfold. They have with the open eyes. Okay, actually this is actually maybe they could have misinterpreted that this is the blind symbol of the blinded, but the this blindfold lady is the symbol of the impartiality, means I don't see who is mine, who is other, just I know, just I will hear you the what is the case, and after that we will give the verdict. This is the symbolic, but yes, this is the new thing you should understand. And yes, legislation did not tamper with the traditional and the custom of any of the religion, caste or the sect, so it will not touch the provision of the reservation and other thing that he wanted to convey, the chief minister wanted to convey. One more thing you should know, this include the, what are the area, this include that there should be the marriage between man and women. Okay, so this is the curve, same-sex marriage is not possible. Age should be, yes, traditional 21 and 18. Okay. In matter related to the divorce, men and women will have the equal rights. So yes, and this would end evil practice of the such as the halala and the idat. What is the idat? What is the waiting period after the after the end or death of the husband, or the after the divorce there is the cooling period that is given, and yes, this is the idat. Before this period the women cannot marry, so this is just on the women, that's why it is discriminatory. Okay, this UCC will provide this 3 years of imprisonment, or there will be the fine of 1 lakh rupees in the case of if anyone found with the practice of the halala. Okay. Here it has mentioned that this again, if one person in married couple change his religion, okay, so this will make the ground for the divorce. If there is the husband and wife, and if one is changing his or her religion, so it will become the ground for the divorce that is mentioned here. Okay, it will prohibit the second marriage if other spouse is alive. We generally see that now, as per now, till now, it is that one person convert into the other religion and get married because it was allowed in the other case. We have seen many of our actresses into the 1980s, 1970s, those such condition was there. So this bill will make the mandatory registration of the marriage and the divorce. This is very important, and in case of the divorce or the domestic dispute, there should be the the custody of a child should be go to the mother until and unless the child become 5 years old. So here the 5 years you should understand this. Okay. Here it is also given with respect to the live-in relation status has been recognized, and you have to register, you have to inform, and otherwise there is, if you do not inform, there is the maximum punishment and the imprisonment as well. Okay. Children born out of this live-in relationship, they will be legitimate and will have the equal rights. You should understand this is a very long matter. This was the matter that was debated in the Constituent Assembly, and Ambedkar was very furious with respect to this legitimate and illegitimate children, and he wanted equal rights for the both. But there was the, actually whenever you give the equal rights for the illegitimate, this many a times question the this institution of the marriage itself. So you can see the what was the debate in the Constituent Assembly. I would like to show you that debate.
I couldn't agree with Amrut Kaurji more. Let me go further while on the topic of children. I propose that there should be no difference between legitimate and illegitimate children as far as laws of inheritance are concerned.
पर इस तरह क्या हम शादी जैसी संस्था पर ही प्रश्न चिन्ह नहीं लगा देंगे?
हमें याद रखना चाहिए कि हम तय कर चुके हैं कि शादी ब्याह जैसी चीजों पर हम अभी इस वक्त यहाँ बात नहीं करेंगे.
For that matter, all the personal laws are not in our purview here.
Here, we are not interfering with anyone's personal law. This is about children and their rights. And you, Diwan Sahab, are a learned man. And you know what Shakespeare says about this question of legitimate and illegitimate. Bastard? Why bastard? Wherefore base? When my dimensions are as well compact, my mind as generous, and my shape as true as an honest madam's issue.
अब शेक्सपियर का जवाब देना थोड़ा मुश्किल हो जाता है, तो एक काम करते हैं, इस विषय पे वोट कर लेते हैं. Those in favor of Dr. Ambedkar's proposal, please raise your hands. छह विपक्ष में, केवल 3 पक्ष में. क्या कर सकते हैं अम्बेडकर जी? कभी जीत, कभी हार.
So we generally see that such a heated debate whenever there is the question of the religion, or whenever there is the question of the personal matter. Even you see in this matter also, we see that there is the opposition. Let's see that particular opposition from the many Islamic institutions. One of the Islamic institutions that is opposing here, Jamiyat, this is the Jamiyat Ulema-e-Hind. This is the oldest body that represent the Muslim interests. It is talking about that there is the this UCC is discriminatory in nature and an attempt to curtail the religious freedom of its citizen. Okay, and he is talking about that under the subsection of 342, chapter 25 of the article. Yes, chapter 25 of the article 366 of the Constitution. Okay, so scheduled caste, scheduled tribe has been excluded. So he's talking about this institution is talking about this is discriminatory. Why you are excluding them? Okay, so if you are excluding them, why not us as well? So the same matter that it was criticized very hugely when the Hindu court bill was there, and there were the Hindu religious group who were opposing. So let's see one of the video that make it clear that what type of the opposition was there, because this is the personal law. This is very sensitive issue. So even though that time it will become very difficult to pass this. So let's see one of the clip.
कि क्या उनके पास वाकई जन्नत है? इलाहाबाद की फूलपुर सीट से नेहरू अपना पहला चुनाव लड़ रहे थे. देश के सबसे बड़े नेता माने जाने वाले नेहरू को लोकतंत्र की इस पहली परीक्षा में ही चुनौती मिली. उन्हें ये चुनौती देने वाला कोई नेता नहीं बल्कि एक सन्यासी था. नाम था प्रभुदत्त ब्रह्मचारी. सन्यासी प्रभुदत्त का चुनाव लड़ने का सिर्फ एक ही मकसद था, हिंदू कोड बिल पर नेहरू का विरोध.
नेहरू ये कुछ इस तरह के कानून लाकर ये प्रमाणित करना चाहते थे कि उन्होंने युगांतरकारी परिवर्तन कर दिया है, उन्होंने समाज को नई दिशा दे दी है, ये संभव नहीं है। तो मुझे लगता है हिंदू कोड बिल के साथ नेहरू जी न केवल सिर्फ दत्यालुस लोगों का विरोध झेल रहे थे, करपात्री जी, स्वामी करपात्री जी हो, प्रबोधन ब्रह्मचारी हो, पुष्पम टंडन हो, राजेंद्र प्रसाद हो, वो उन सब लोगों को भी खेल कर रहे थे जो इतने बड़े नेता नहीं थे, मगर पारंपरिक लोग थे। उन्हें लगता था कि हमारे पारिवारिक जीवन में, हमारी धार्मिक परंपराओं में हस्तक्षेप सरकार कर रही है और अल्पसंख्यकों में नहीं कर रही है।
उस वक्त देश में नेहरू का जो पद था, उसके आगे कोई ये सोच भी नहीं सकता था कि उनके सामने कोई टिक सकता है। लेकिन नेहरू का विरोध करने वाले जनसंघ और हिंदू महासभा जैसे दलों ने अपना उम्मीदवार खड़ा करने के बजाय प्रबोधक ब्रह्मचारी को समर्थन देने का फैसला किया। प्रबोधक ब्रह्मचारी ने बड़े ही निराले अंदाज से चुनाव लड़ा। उन्होंने न कोई रैली की, न ही कोई भाषण दिया। वो तो बस गेरुए कपड़े पहनकर साधुओं की टोली के साथ निकल जाया करते थे। उनके साथ ही भजन गाते और प्रबोधक जी उनकी धुन में झूमा करते। पूरे चुनाव प्रचार के दौरान उन्होंने खुद एक शब्द भी नहीं बोला। भजन के बाद उनका कोई शिष्य एक पर्चा पढ़कर लोगों को सुनाया करता था। इस पर्चे में नेहरू जी को यह चुनौती दी गई थी कि या तो वो ये साबित करें कि हिंदुओं में बहुमत हिंदू कोड बिल के पक्ष में है, या फिर हिंदू कोड बिल को हमेशा के लिए भूल जाए। उस वक्त नेहरू के चुनाव क्षेत्र में करीब 7 लाख मतदाता थे। प्रबोधक ब्रह्मचारी इन पर्चों के जरिए ही मतदाताओं तक अपनी बात पहुंचा रहे थे। उनके पर्चे की करीब 76,000 कॉपियां बन चुकी थी। नेहरू ने ब्रह्मचारी के इस पर्चे के जवाब में यह ऐलान कर दिया कि चाहे कुछ भी हो जाए वो पीछे नहीं हटेंगे।
मैं हिंदू कोड बिल पास करवा के रहूंगा, चाहे मैं चुनाव जीतूं या हारूं। मैं चुनाव हिंदू कोड बिल के मुद्दे पर ही लड़ूंगा, और यह बात मैं ब्रह्मचारी जी को लिख के दे सकता हूं।
नेहरू ये बात बखूबी जानते थे कि अगर कांग्रेस चुनाव जीतती है तो वो पहले से ज्यादा ताकत के साथ हिंदू कोड बिल पास करवा पाएंगे। फिर भी हवा के रुख को देखते हुए उन्होंने चुनाव के ठीक पहले थोड़ी नरमी दिखाई और कहा कि हिंदू कोड बिल दोबारा पेश जरूर होगा, लेकिन कुछ बदलावों के साथ। नतीजा ये हुआ कि चुनाव में नेहरू के सामने प्रबोधक ब्रह्मचारी की बुरी तरह हार हुई और कांग्रेस ने देश भर में जबरदस्त जीत हासिल की।
So whenever there is the reform, there is always the opposition. We saw that yes, there was the a very high level of the opposition of that time as well. Now we will see such opposition as well. Yes, and at that particular time, it was given the chance that yes, some Muslim leadership will emerge and they will try to bring the movement, and that will demand for the yes uniform civil code, and that will be that will reduce such opposition. So, but we see that the way it is being introduced. Okay, so this is all about. Next important news that we will take with respect to this Rajya Sabha passes the bill with respect to the PVTGs, and they are from the Odisha and AP. So you should understand this. Who are they? They were already in the list, but yes, there is the subcategory. They were in the combination. Now there has been more specification. So you should know this. The name of this bill is this constitutional. Constitution Schedule Type Order Bill, Order Amendment Bill 2014, and this is the Constitution Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe Order Amendment Bill 2024. Okay, so this is that, and you should note this PVTGs, they are the special group, they are more vulnerable within the STs, so they have is provided with the separate category so that the proper framework, proper scheme, proper protection could be provided to them. Okay, so those out of 75 PVTGs, 9 are, who are these 9? So please let's see. This one is the Pauri Bhuyan and this Paudi Bhuyan. They are from the Bhuyan tribe. Initially they were included under the Bhuyan tribe, but now they have specified with the Pauri Bhuyan and the Paudi Bhuyan. Okay. Next is that Chuktiya Bhunjia. Okay, and they were from the Bhunjia tribe. 3. The fourth is the Bondo. a subtype of the Bondo Poraja tribe. So this is the 5 and 6, 7. This is the Bondo Poraja and the Kondo Poraja. They were previously in the Poraja tribe. These two are from the Andhra Pradesh. So please remember these tribes, go through the multiple revision so that you could have a clarity who are the tribes, so that if in the prelims question is asked, you can easily answer. So this is all about. Next news that we will take. Next important news that we will take is this. This is with respect to the financial relation between the center and state, and it is particularly talking about how the adjustment with respect to the devolution of the taxes and the revenue is done with help of the 14th Finance Commission. So you should know that what is the Finance Commission. It is the constitutional body, Article 280, and this is constituted by the President of India after every interval of the 5 years, or whenever he think that it fits to constitute this body. Okay, so particularly they decide, they give a recommendation. This is the advisory, not the binding. Okay, this they give the recommendation that how the taxes that is collected should be divided between the union and the state, as well as between the different states as well. Okay, so you should understand this. It is between the states as well as union and state, as well as different states as well. Okay, so beside that, it's also give the state's government to maintain its exchequer in such a manner that they can provide sufficient devolution to the this local bodies, and this will be on the recommendation of the State Finance Commission. So double recommendation: State Finance Commission give the recommendations, Union Finance Commission study and give the state government how they should be managing. Okay, so this is between union and this all state at together, so the divide is between them, and after that what's the division of the this state separately, what will be the their part, what will be the their part. Okay, so different parts, different shares is given. Okay, so here it has given that how this is done, and yes, recently we saw that at the 14th Finance Commission. Okay, so you should know 15th this 14th Finance Commission was implemented between the 2015 to 20, and this 15th Finance Commission that is going on its recommendation 20 to 25, and 26 that will be between the 25 to 30. So there is the committee, and yes, it is under the Arvind Pangadia that is heading this 16th Finance Commission. Recommendation will come, and that will be implemented between the 2025 to 30. So you should be very clear. Now it is, we are running under the this Finance Commission recommendation of Finance Commission, 15th Finance Commission. So it was previous 14th that devolved that 42% should be given to the states in the combination. Okay. So yes, this was the increase of the 10% from the previous suggestions. However, in the 15th Commission, there was the 41% because there was the separate provision, separate devolution for this Jammu and Kashmir. That's why if you will add up, it will be add up that devolution that gone to this Jammu and Kashmir, then it will make the 42%. Okay. So here it is talking about the increase in its total revenue is increased. It's a discretionary expenditure. Discretionary expenditure of the union government is not being the routed through the state budget. Okay. So here it is given that what will be the net tax revenue, means there is the cost that incurred while all the taxation process is going on, or all the revenue collection process is going on. So that is not counted, that is not part of the division. Okay, beside that there is the cess and the surcharges. So what is the surcharge and the cess? These two are the tax on the tax. Okay, for example, if there is the there is the 100 rupees of the petrol you go buy, and there is the taxation for the 10%. Or you go and if you buy something like a car, and there is the out of 100 rupees of the car, there is the 12% of the taxes. So 12 rupees you will give as the tax. So what will be the cess? Cess will be tax on this. This 12 rupees, whatever you give in, if it is 2% or 1%, so what will be this? 0.12 means 12 paise will be the cess. Okay, are you getting now? If you will consider it in the lakhs, this amount is very much. The car is not in 100 rupees. If you will take 10 lakh rupees, okay. Okay, see this is the 10 lakh, so you have to increase this 4 zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So 1 lakh 20,000 in the tax if you will take 12% of the 10 lakh, and what will be the cess? You will increase the 40, then it is 1200. That is the cess. This is the good amount. So cess is the tax on the tax, and if this cess is defined that this is for the particular any specific area, maybe it could be the for the education. So this is known as the surcharge. Surcharge are the defined that what will you will do by this, but the cess is not defined. After collection, they will define that what we will do. This is the whether we are going to spend on the road or the resource or the some construction of the establishment of the hospital. So this is decided later. So this is the basic difference between the cess and surcharge. Both are the same, tax on the tax, but the nature is different. Please be clear on that. Okay. So here it is telling that this grant in add to the state is the another statutory grant recommended by the Finance Commission. Okay. So combined share of this statutory finance transfer in the gross tax is around, this is 48%. Okay. So, but the reality is grant in add statutory grant means this is transferred by the law. Some law is made and then this is transferred. Okay, this is not the discretionary by itself by the union government deciding that where they have to give what amount. Okay. So revenue collection through this surcharge is highest and increasing, and this is not shared with the state government, and that's why it is talking that the exchequer, the expenditure for the union is increasing, but the devolution, the transfer of this money to the state is reducing. So this article is totally about the how the union is transferring this 42% that is granted. This is the recommended by the Finance Commission, and beside this grant in add, it is going to be 48%. Okay. So this surcharge, whenever the union government is taking imposing, this is not being shared by the state. So this is for the negative, in the negative impact on the state sharing. Okay. So state will want, so state do not want this cess and surcharge to be increased, but the central government will increase because of its own appropriation and the sharing by union government without the shares. Okay. This calculation is excluding the this GST says that is collected to compensate the revenue loss of the state due to the implementation of GST. When the GST was implemented, then it was decided that there will be the extra cess so that if some state government was going to get impacted the revenue collection, because many of these collection rights under GST was with the state government, it was transferred to the a common GST this council and this union government. So that's why it was made that if some government, those who are opposing that it will impact negatively to us after the GST implementation, so the central government ensured that we will impose some cess, and whatever the compensation, whatever the reduction in your revenue will be there, we will compensate. Okay, so this is here it is given that. So union government is increasing the tax collection under the cess and surcharge. So again, this is saying that yes, there is the whatever I explained here. Okay. So here it is talking about the centrally sponsored scheme and the central sector scheme. So what is the difference between this? Here the sponsored means 100% money is not given by the union. It means it will the center is sponsors. So sometimes you sponsor something means you are in the collaboration with the other do something. So here if there is the scheme, any scheme, if there is the this is sponsored by the central union government, so the half of the money will be paid by the states and half will be paid by this union. Okay. Then the what is this central sector scheme? Here 100% will be given by the union and union itself will implement. Mostly it will be the union that implement, and these are the area where the legislation right and the implementation right is totally with the center. Centrally is sponsored here the wherever there is the importer there is the common ground that is from the concurrent list or the state list, and yes it's center that try to promote. So here it has given that yes how this allocation to this CS this centrally sponsored scheme increasing, and that's why it is creating the burden of the many state to share half of the amount, and those states who do not share half of the amount, maybe there is a different level of the state financial and economic status, maybe the Gujarat can able to pay, and yes this is here that there is the here there is one condition on that whenever this union government is going to pay this grant in ad, so it will be always match with this centrally sponsored scheme. Means those state who are going to implement this centrally sponsored scheme, they will get more grant in ad. Means if means take the condition that someone say that if I will go for the go and I will take the milk more as compared to the tea, so I will be given extra amount of the this any sweet, okay, chocolate, okay. So it is conditional that if you will go for the milk only, then you will get the chocolate. For example, if I don't like the milk, I will not get this chocolate. Okay, so those states who will get this centrally sponsored scheme, they will get more grant in ad. So many, for example, I don't have the capacity to buy the milk for the 10 rupees. I will go for the something else that is in the 2 rupees. Okay. So I will not get, means who have the capacity to this buy the milk, they will get chocolate as well. Same here, whoever will implement this more, and here implementation is difficult for the state because half of the money that is needed in this scheme to implement will be given by the union and half is going to on the state government to pay. So that's why many of the state, maybe the center has its own motive for this centrally scheme, centrally sponsored scheme. It's want some benefit. Maybe there is always the motive behind the political motive. So state don't want. So there is the impact on their transfer. Okay. So here it has explained all this thing that how this impact to the those state who cannot afford. Okay. Then it is making that less wealthy state will have to commit their borrowed finance in this CS or CSS centrally sponsored scheme. So those who want to avail this grant in ad, they have to get the loan or they have to get more fiscal deficit to implement this centrally sponsored scheme because half of the money is need to be paid by this. So this creates the interstate inequality in the public finance. So some state will get more grant. So those who are already rich, they will be richer because they will get more grant. Okay, so this is here explained. Here it is explaining that this center sectoral scheme again, it is the totally union government funded and it is given the more and more exclusive legislative and the institutional control, and that's why it serves the purpose of the union government. Here it has mentioned that what has been the amount that has been paid to that. Okay, so allocation for this central sector increased from the 5 lakh crore 5.21 lakh crore to the 14.68 lakh crore. And there is around the 700 scheme. Can you imagine 700 scheme, more than 700 scheme? How much scheme you get? 1, 2. So here this dialogue becomes very relevant. So see this. what he want to say. So this shows that despite this 700 scheme, as the dialogue says that despite the 100 of the scheme, there is no impact on the ground as per that dialogue. I don't know, but how many schemes you are getting, you can understand this, the way this thing is implemented. Okay, so it is clear that the union government allocates a large share of the finance to the centrally sector scheme because it has to implement its own schemes, and that's why it will have the political benefit as well. Okay, so it is quite likely that union government can allocate financial resource with a motive to benefit a specific state constituency through the central sector scheme, because wherever those union government has the more presence, where they can think that they can have the better political benefits, they will try to implement all this thing in that area. In this paragraph, they have mentioned that how there has been the less devolution in this area. Total devolution to the state has been only 4.2 lakh crore that has been devolved to the states, despite the total is around 19.4 lakh that is being spent. Okay. So here it is talking about this CSS and the central sector schemes are the non-statutory transfer. So you should know these are the non-statutory. Why? Because there is no legal provision, or there is the specific law that compel union government to send. So that's why it is the discretion of the state. Discretion as per their own desire. They can pay someone, they cannot pay someone. Okay, so this is the non-statutory grant that form the 12% of the gross tax revenue. Okay, so here it is all about in the last it has mentioned that in the addition to retaining more than 50% gross tax revenue, the union government has the fiscal deficit. We recently saw last year it was 5.9%, means this is extra borrowing that is needed beyond the whatever the tax collection. Okay, so this union government has the larger pocket to spend. Okay, so this is all about this as here mentioned. Okay, so this is all about next important news. This article is a bit philosophical. Here it is talking about that whenever there is any events happening, if you will try to understand in the wrong manner without knowing the context or the historical background or the other associated area, you will not able to get clarity about the events. So here it has mentioned that to understand the response or any of the situation, we must engage with the historical, sociological, economic, psychological context. Okay, so another important aspect of this thinking is that whenever you try to know any events, you should learn how to historicize our contemporary problems. For example, whatever is going on the cookie and meaty, you just able to try to understand in the current context. You will not able to understand, but whenever you go into the historical perspective, or whatever is going in the Hamas and between the Israel and Hamas, you must have to enter into the historical perspective, and that's bring the more clarity with respect to that. Beside that, there is the other dimension as well that you should know, that what is the cultural, language, perceptions of the truth and justice, all that matters. So whenever you are going to write this philosophical essay, please use what it is useful in the society whenever you are writing for the society. Okay. So in making sense of the conflict between the two groups, there is always try to know that when and why do national identity matter. National identity is related to the socio economic affinity or the ethno-linguistic affinity of the people. Maybe I have some ethnicity where I have the connection, or some language where a group of people have the common connection, common overlapping or the interest. So this is very important to know. And if the identities doesn't matter, so why the passport is needed whenever you enter into any country or to travel anywhere? Okay, so this border, why do nations do not open their border to all religion and national subject? Because identity matter. There is something you need to know about all this thing. So beside that, there is also the relationship between the two group of the two ethnicity is with respect to the power. So power play a very central role. So despite we don't have to go for this power play, but yes, you should understand in the humanistic perspective to know the clarity about all this thing. So this talking about the understanding how power operates within the society is very important to get clear picture whatever the thing is going on. So this is a bit historical. Whenever you are going to write a answer in essay, there is always need for the philosophical understanding, and this gives you some point to write this. Okay. Next important news that we will take with respect to the recently we saw the interim budget, and there was the reduction in the fiscal deficit that government want to bring it to the 5.3%. Okay, so it was previously 5.9, but yes, it was expected that 5.8 we have reduced it for the last year, and now it was expected that fiscal deficit will be 5.3%, but even government want to achieve this 5.1%. Okay, so this is giving the reduction in the fiscal deficit. And what is the fiscal deficit? You know that it is the balance between expenditure minus collection receipts. Okay, so if expenditure is more, you will have the negative. This will be the means negative means you are spending much more than you are earning. This is the earn. Whenever the income, whenever the portion earn, this is the income, and this is the portion expenditure. The same manner the country has the expenditure and the collection. Okay, so it is the it is not considered if this is very high, because this gives that your income is less as compared to that. So in that case, there could be the yes, there could be some impact on the inflation and other thing. So whenever this reduce, so whenever there is the higher inflation, whenever there is the higher expenditure, means people have the more money, and the more money chasing the less amount of the product. For example, there is the five apples, and there is the two people with the 200 rupees. So amount is more and the people are less. So yes, you will reduce your price from the 100 to 90, because there are the 5 people who are selling. But if there is the 2 apple and 5 people chasing with the money, like the each have the 1000. So even if you will sell this with the 200 rupees, they will ready to buy. Okay, so whenever the money expenditure is more and money is more in the economy, there is the more inflation. So in that case, RBI reduce the interest rate. No, increase the interest rate. Means if you are going to borrow 100 rupees, interest rate, extra money you have to give is to 12 rupees. Whenever there is the high inflation, RBI try to increase this interest rate. This is the interest rate. So yes, whenever, so this is not good for the market. Means if interest rate will be high, if I am a company and a factory's owner, they will not go to borrow, and they will keep their production at the whatever level they have. Means if they have the 2 machine, they will keep that. If it is it has the 3 machine, it will keep 3. But whenever the interest rate is just 6%, if you on borrowing 100 rupees, you have to pay 6 rupees. So this company will think that yes, if I will get 2 more machines and produce, I will earn more than 6 rupees. Means I can earn 10 rupees, 6 rupees I will give back, and 4 rupees I will invest again. So this increase the number of this machine. That's why you need more people. So employment increases, and this production also increases. So this is the benefit. So whenever there is the less there is the chance that inflation will be reduced, as the government is going to reduce its expenditure. So inflation will be reduced. In that case, this RBI can increase this, reduce this interest rate, so that these companies and factories can borrow and they can start new economic activity. So new employment generation could be there. So this is all about, this is mentioned that this article is totally about these things. Okay. Next important news that we are going to cover is this with respect to the what is going on the Chandigarh. There was the this local body elections, and there were the manipulations, and it's this matter reached to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court, by watching the Chief Justice of India watched the video, the way it was conducted, it was counted. So he was so much shocked that his comment was that this is the mockery of the democracy. This is the totally manipulation. So here it has mentioned that such things shouldn't happen, because the case was that there was the 20 seats with the AAP and Congress in the combination, and yes, there was the only 16 seat with the BJP, but BJP able to form the mayor and mayor candidate, and they were failed to do because some of their votes, 8 votes of this AAP and Congress in combination was invalidated. So in the video it was very clear cut that those presiding officer was manipulating, defacing the ballot is the ballot where this election was conducted. Generally it is happened that there is the raise of the hand if the number is less, and after that if this is not they are not agree, then the slips is given, and there they put their marking that for whom they are voting, and this is also bring the secrecy. Okay, so this is all about voting in the slip indicates that there is the cross voting and there is the secrecy. So this is all about, but in the Chandigarh we saw there is this matters with the Supreme Court, and let's see what is going on. So here it is given that a political party seeking to be re-elected for the third consecutive term at the national level cannot be seen manipulating any election in this manner. Otherwise the trust, the legitimacy of whole election system will be questioned at the national level, and that's why the democracy that has been built in with so much labor by our founding fathers and the further our citizen of the India. So this will be in the threat. So this is all about. Now we have covered most of the relevant areas for the today. Here we will conclude our session. All the best. Jai Hind.